Professor Mimamsa to deliver the welcome address.
Hello. It's with great pleasure that I welcome all of you to Mimamsa 2020. I especially welcome the 4 teams who have reached the finals: IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, IIC Bangalore, and also our sister institute, IISA Kolkata. I also would like to welcome the the, uh, the students of IISA Pune who have put together this program. It's a very difficult program to put together because finding good, tough questions to ask the best of undergraduates in the country is no mean task. As someone who's been teaching for many years, I find it difficult to find good new questions every year to ask students who take my course. And I can imagine that when you have a much larger scale question setting program, which goes over, takes, I believe, nearly a year to complete, it must be very difficult to find questions which can really test the ability of uh, students. The word Mimamsa, I believe, means deep thinking, profound thinking, and reflecting on issues, thinking about how issues should be handled. And here, students have to deal with scientific questions. Many questions in science are of the sort which cannot be answered quickly, even when the answer is known, because the level of thinking required can be quite, quite a bit. And even the brightest of minds may have to ponder over the question for quite some time. And so this type of activity is really a testament to the ability of students who are able to answer the question. And I think also a testament to the rigor and quality of the students who set the questions. And I'm very proud that the students who set the question are from IISA Pune. Of course, they take the help of faculty members also, I believe. But it's really a testament to the academic program of IISA Pune, to the rigor of the program, and to what the students learn during their tenure at the institute. It's very nice that Praj Industries, especially at the initiative of Pramod Chaudhary, have taken over the mantle of supporting this very important activity. Um, it's not easy for the institute to financially support such an activity to the level it deserves to be supported. And we very much welcome the fact that a company such as Praj Industry, a progressive company such as Praj Industry, has come forward to support this activity for the next few years. Um, Mimamsa 2020 was meant to be held nearly a year ago in March 2020. It has had to be postponed, as we all know, because of the onset of COVID-19. Um, and I'm very glad that the work which the students had put in the previous year did not go to waste, and that Mimamsa 2020 is being held finally in 2021, in February 2021. I'm sure it will be of the quality it has always been, a quality where students' abilities are tested quite rigorously, as I mentioned. This, of course, is the first online version of Mimamsa. Um, when I saw the announcement, I also learned there is a program called Gather Town. I never knew about this, which I believe enables this to be held in a kind of natural-like environment. Let's see how it goes. So again, I welcome everyone. I welcome Shishir from Prague and also his colleagues from the company. I welcome the visitors, online visitors from the 4 institutes that made it to the final. And I welcome the organizers of Mimamsa 2020, as well as I hope there will be a large number of spectators online to watch this stimulating quiz. So with that, I don't have much more to say. Again, the best of luck, and may the best team win. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. I'd like to take this opportunity to say a few words about our other chief guest, Mr. Shishir Joshipura, the CEO and MD of Praj Industries Private Limited. Equipped with a degree from BITS Pilani in Mechanical Engineering and an Advanced Management Program, AMP, from Harvard Business School, Mr. Joshipura started his professional journey as an engineer in Thermax. He then led the cooling and heating business of Thermax and then transitioned in the role of CEO of SKF India in 2009. From 2nd April 2018, Mr. Joshipura has taken over as the CEO and MD of Praj Industries Limited, a Pune-based industrial biotech company. His journey includes business management of high technology market leader organizations, both India headquartered as well as publicly quoted MNC subsidiaries, strategic management of businesses serving a wide cross-section of industrial and automotive segments, energy and environmental solutions, that is projects and services in fields of alternative and conventional energy generation for industrial and commercial applications, global business management with international multi-location manufacturing, and establishing and managing international subsidiaries. Mr. Joshipura was also named as one of the most valuable CEOs of India by Business World magazine and listed as one of India's top 100 CEOs of 2013 by Business Today. I hereby invite Mr. Joshipura to deliver the keynote address and declare Mimamsa Mains 2020 open.
Good morning, and thank you, Krishna, for that introduction. Good morning to the team, Professor Udgavkar, the rest of the team from IISER Pune, all you participants, my colleagues, and other people who have joined this program here today. Let me start first by saying that when my founder chairman, Dr. Chaudhary, decided to support Mimamsa from Praj, for us, it was not a matter of writing a check. It was a matter of, as he put it, and I'm quoting him here, it was we were investing into our and country's future. And he went on to elaborate that this is not going to get limited only to this, but we will actually be investing into future of the humanity. And therefore, we are very, very happy, feel very privileged and very proud to be part of this very, very innovative effort. The last 12 months, more or less, have seen a very, very different challenge that was posed to the entire humanity. We have not seen anything like that before, or not even heard of anything like this before. So obviously, we are at some kind of an inflection point in the development of our ecosystem and environment. And I think from that perspective, the Mimamsa 2020 is very, very different from what has been held before or what will be held after this. And I'm sure that they will all be having different challenges to address. Of course, the event cannot be made successful unless there is a great organizing committee, and my compliments to the IISER Pune team for putting this together. I gather that over 900 teams or 3,500 students were all participating at different stages, and this is just amazing. And also very heartwarming to see that a small community, but a very definitive community is able to focus and get attracted to an event like this. It is very important, and I cannot be, so there is an organizing committee, there was an organization, a commercial organization outside this eco space which stepped in form of my company Praj. And last but not the least, I think the teams that participated, including the 4 that have made it to the finals today, and the IITs at Delhi and Mumbai, IISc at Bangalore, and IISER at Calcutta. To me, each and every one of 3,620 students that participated, you are already a winner. Yeah. That's number one. Am I visible? I just want to check. I'm getting a, okay, good, thank you. So what's very important for us to recognize is that the 4 finalists, the members there, they obviously have distinguished themselves in a already a very, very rare verified crowd. I was just chatting to a professor yesterday, and I said, well, you know, I was being asked, have you been to IISER campus? And I said, yes, I have been. And it was about 4 years ago that I actually visited, because my nephew was a student at IISER, and I said that, you know, the intelligence was overpowering when I was walking the corridors. And as is want with all the professors, you know, they will always guide you to the right path. And he said, well, you can say that, but at the same time, you know, we also needed some guys like you who will make sure that this all intelligence actually ends up doing something good for the society. So we are very happy to have people who are also from a different walk of life and who can build the overall ecosystem in a good sort of way. I think being one of the largest and the most acclaimed science competition for the country, it is obviously very, very tough to be even part of it. But the emphasis that is there on the conceptual and critical thinking from this particular event, I think actually goes about opening up a very new vista, and that is where I would like to focus my talk today. And as some of you who will step into the corporate world, and even those who stays in the academic world, I think this is now a cliche being used where people say, you know, you need to think outside the box. I would probably say that time has come where we need to think without boundaries, not outside the box, but because that actually sort of acknowledges that there is a box living as well. And I'm saying that no, we need to think without boundaries. And I'm pretty confident that all the students would be able to actually do this thinking without boundaries. What do I mean by that? I think Professor Udgaonkar mentioned, what problems are you going to solve? I think there's a key question that this young community need to ask itself as to what problems are you attempting to solve, and how relevant are they to the future of the humanity. I think if these two, if any and every action of yours can be put to these two tests, I'm sure that we will see a growth that we have not seen so far. There is a very distinctive shift that I can definitely ascertain from my end on the business side, is that the role of science in business is changing. We've been very engineering and technology related, development, application, and while all of those will remain very, very focused and firm, I can clearly see the role of science walking into a much, much bigger avatar than what we have seen so far. Let me take 3 areas where I believe science will completely rewrite the rules of the game. Number one is, of course, education. The way we will teach science, the importance of science, from the elemental level right up to the research level, I think the education system will call for a change. And I think we are already beginning to see that. The second one is around health. It is absolutely a given now that the world has a very heightened consciousness about health, especially given what has happened in the last 12 months. We have also realized that as human beings, we can be brought to rule by nature, because if we continuously misbehave, nature will find its own way of teaching us a lesson. And I think, therefore, a lot more focus will go on creating solutions in the health front. And the third, and I think this is the most important one because this is going to impact the first two as well, is the role of science in managing our environment. Nowadays, you can lift a newspaper and all the news, and it doesn't matter which newspaper whether it is printed in London, whether it's in New York, whether it's in India, whether it's in Australia, it doesn't matter. The one news that you definitely find is the news about vaccination. And well, so for a pandemic called COVID-19, we were able to create a vaccine. And we were able to, and we are all now hopeful that life will be back to quote unquote normal pretty soon. I want to invite your attention to a much bigger problem, and it is bigger for some very different reasons, and the problem of climate change. Why is it a bigger problem than what we have seen so far? Is because A, it is moving very slowly. It is creeping up on us extremely slowly. And something that comes very slow often goes unnoticed. Two, it's an invisible problem. It's not like the smoke that our capital Delhi faces in the month of November, where you can't see. So it's not physically present yet. It is so ever gradually changing its course. And to my mind, the problem of climate change will actually alter so many of our held beliefs, so many of our held and established systems, so many of our held practices and lives. And I always say this, that the purpose for which we should work is only one. And many of the participants today are very young on this. So I'm telling this to you, but I always tell even to my daughter that the whole purpose for which we are eventually working is to ensure a better future for our children. Everything that we do, and it doesn't matter what we do. At the base of it is the idea that, I would like to build a better tomorrow for my child. And from that perspective, climate change is a problem that if we don't solve in time, we will not be able to guarantee a good future for our children. I think it is very important that we recognize this as our biggest problem, because in my opinion, the vaccine for climate change is not something that you can produce by millions into an established factory and go and vaccinate everybody by training some people to put a jab a syringe into everybody's arm. I don't think so. The solution is much more complex, and that let me go to that part. So a lot of innovation that is required in our thinking, in our actions, in our technologies, in the way we do things, will happen at the interface of different technologies. We've all been very, what I would call as channelized into saying, I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm a chemical engineer, I'm a chemical fellow, I'm a chemistry graduate, I'm a physics guy. I think a lot of future innovation will take place at the interface of different specialties. So we will have to be open. We can have a specialty with us, but we'll have to be open, and the future success will probably depend upon how well we are able to integrate the innovation at the interface. My company, Praj, is working on a very interesting concept, and I think in today's talk, I will just briefly touch upon this because that will probably demonstrate how we need to think and not just copy or ape something that is fashionable. All of us know that electric cars or electric vehicles is something that everybody is excitedly talking about. There's a big brand called Tesla out there, which is obviously done some great work. There are practically every automotive company is investing into developing their own electric vehicle. There are lots of government policies that are pushing for it. So there is an eco space that is developing around e-vehicles or e-mobility as it is called. And when we were discussing in Praj, one fine day, I remember still around 9:30 in the morning, my boss, Dr. He called me and said, we've been thinking about and talking about this. I think we should think a little differently about this concept called biomobility. And I said, what do you mean by biomobility? And he said, he said, you expand the thinking, but we need to think around this whole concept of what works for our country. And he says, in my opinion, what will work is this concept of biomobility, whereby you will use such fuels that they reduce the carbon footprint when put to the mobility solution. And normally we stop ourselves as e-vehicles, as the vehicles on the road. But obviously he was saying, no. Mobility is on all the three dimensions, right? On water, on surface, that is roads, and as well as in the air, that's the aircrafts. And for all the thinking that we have right now, the electric aircrafts are still quite some miles away, and we are not going to have electric charging stations soon floating around in seas, so ships as well. So biomobility is a concept, and we said, and when we started to think about it, we said, whoa, this is so powerful. Because if you're going to create a biofuel-based economy, then very clearly IC engine is a given. If IC engine is a given, then where is the biofuel coming from? It is coming from our fields. So a farmer is protected. It is locally grown crop. It is something that we can recycle month in and month out. It is something that is regenerative. It is something that saves foreign exchange. It is something that saves jobs. And we said, how? And we said, oh, if it is an IC engine based system, then it needs 17,000 parts to put together a car. But it was an electric vehicle system. It takes 700 parts to put together a car. 17,000 versus 700. Now, for those of you who know how a car is made, all these parts are made by other people. That is the companies that hold technologies around the parts. And then they are assembled by the car maker to produce the eventual vehicle. So we are talking of millions of jobs. And India as a country is getting younger. We need more jobs. And suddenly we said, oh, that means biomobility has tremendous advantage for our country as opposed to e-mobility, which probably may apply to a country which is not agrarian, is extremely rich, has no problem in investing into infrastructure because they are rich, they have money. We don't have those things. If we have money, but we need to find the right kind of areas where we can invest in. So when we started to think about it, we said, all right, so if the world is chasing e-mobility, maybe India should chase biomobility. And then we expand that, so every agrarian economy should actually be chasing biomobility and not e-mobility. Does that mean that e-mobility is no space? No, not at all. There are economies which are not agrarian. So for them, it makes sense, not for us. There are economies which have problem of not having enough young people to work. For them, it makes sense, not for us. So what I'm trying to say is, when we start to think without boundaries, when we start to think in a holistic fashion, some very different solutions emerge. And towards this, I think what is likely to happen is we are going into an era where the working together between the academic institutions and the industry will shift platform. It will become something that is of a much higher collaborative nature than it has been so far. Not some for lip service kind of project, but really involved, integrated working between the teams between the academia and industry. And we are very, very hopeful that we will be able to tap into these very, very bright minds and move on from there to actually create and solve, not create, actually create solutions and solve real problems that the humanity is facing. I am very, very sure that I'm addressing a group of people who actually will help rewrite some of the fundamentals of humanity and life as we move forward through proper application of their minds. For us, collaborating with ICER as an opportunity is something that is absolutely important for us. We strongly believe that through this collaboration, we are investing not only into a win-win for both us and ICER, but probably win-win for the entire humanity. We both share a passion for innovation and research. We strongly believe that sharing of knowledge and expertise and best practices is the way forward to accelerate the development, and especially to address the biggest problem that we are facing today but not recognizing in form of climate change. I would like to end by complimenting the entire organizing committee, the students, the participating teams, the guys who made it to the finals. I wish you all the best. And as as the professor earlier said, you guys are already winners, and we are counting on you taking India forward. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure and privilege to speak with you.
Thank you, sir, for those enlightening words. We have our 4 finalist teams assembled here today, all from some fantastic institutions in India. There's a team from IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, IISER Kolkata, and IISc Bangalore. With that, lastly, I'd like to say, let the quizzing begin. Before we disperse into our respective subject rooms and let the event begin, some quick instructions for everyone. One must use only one and the same audio source as everyone during the event. So, for example, because we're in a Zoom call now, mute your gather town mics and vice versa in order to prevent the transfer of audio. All of the audience must be muted unless you want to specifically speak or have any queries. I mean, thinking through stuff is hard. So we prefer that the audience be muted so that participants can think through stuff really well. Please listen carefully to the instructions given periodically in the waiting hall and in the subject rooms. That will be relayed to you. Just make sure you're looking out for it. And do refer to the instruction manuals we've provided for you. Like, that should cover most of the answers. And for any queries, please reply to everyone on the chat box and someone will come to help you. So there's an everyone feature on both Zoom and GatherTown. Just make sure your messages go there. Thanks everyone and good luck.
Excuse me. So everyone, so right now I'll be putting the link to the GatherTown server on the chat box to everyone. Please note the password and and please do log in. You'll be able to enter the password and get into the server. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, this brings a close to the inauguration for today. We'll now be starting the main event. Thank you so much for coming, and I wish all the best to the teams.